Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Round 22, TLT podcast. Look, Dor, we're counting down the week to the end of the season, mate, believe it or not. Finals start next week for most leagues. It's a very important time of year for TLT listeners to make sure we get those right people in the team. Lots of injuries as well in the past week with Hughes going down. Who else went down over the weekend?
Olakau'atu went down as well. Haas had a niggle.
Haas did have a
Connor
niggle.
Tracy's gone as well.
Connor Tracy, he was my other one in my Supercoach team. Lots of injuries, lots of trades to burn Dor. Let's get straight into it, though. Eels versus the Storm on the Thursday night. And Eels coach has gone with the same 17 that beat the Broncos impressively last week. And look, if I'm seeing anyone in this Eels team really quickly, Mitch Moses played very well, steered the ship around very nicely for the Eels. Other than that, Lomax, mate, at the end of the year, good pod opportunity there around that 600K mark for me. For the Storm, Pappenhausen is back after 4 games out with a calf injury. I'd take that with a grain of salt because who knows, he might be out with a late mail. Cam Munster also returns and will partner Tyron Wishart, who we spoke about just before Dor, with Jerome Hughes going out with that shoulder injury for at least a month. So he is now a sell heading into finals. Grant was impressive on the weekend with 73. Would you be picking up any of those guys on the weekend, Dor?
All right, so this game, or these two teams fantasy-wise, I think, like you said, Cord, Hughes, definite sell. We don't need to go into that much further. Pappenhausen, look, if you still got him, hold him. I wouldn't be buying him. Just like you said, Cord, he could be like a laid out, or you don't really know if he's going to actually play. I think, Harry Grant's a really good option. I think with Hughes now out of the team, he's going to step up a lot more. So I think that Harry Grant's a really good option. I've got him in my own team. Look, even though Mitchell Moses was really good IRL, fantasy-wise, he was very poor. He only got like 27, I think it was, missed a lot of tackles. Looking at the Eels side, potentially just like you said, I think Lomax is someone that you want to look at having in your team for the run home. And then if you want to cash out, Joash Papali'i had a really good game. He's going to have that fullback spot for at least another 3 weeks. And he went really well. I think I'm just double checking now. He had 43 points and he's got a break even of 5, 235K. So he's really bottomed out. And then look, Talon De Silva was awful. He had 8 points, but you just hold on to him. He's not really someone you're going to play.
Nah. Moving on, mate, to the Warriors and the Dolphins game. Tamari Martin takes over at 5'8" with Chanel Harris-Tavita out with a calf injury. Other news for the Warriors, Hooker Wader even has entered concussion protocols. So Sam Healy starts at 9. Which means Aaron Clark will stay at that lock role at 13. 3 big ins for the Dolphins. Cody Nikarima, Felice Kafusi, and Mark Nichols are all back as the Dolphins fight for that number 8 spot in the 8. Fantasy-wise, mate, not really seeing much. The Dolphins have played their last bye now. Katoa could be a sneaky buy on the run home. They've got a pretty good draw, the Dolphins, so he might be a play.
Yeah, I think you're looking at a halfback to partner Nathan Cleary for the run home. If you've already got Nico, well, that's fair. But I think Katoa is the best option, Cord. I think Dolphins have a pretty good run. They're fighting for finals. I think Katoa is a real one. Again, very self-explanatory, but Herbie Farnworth, if you haven't got Herbie, you really need Herbie. He's been absolutely unbelievable. Pod option, Hammer, if you want to take a bit of a risk. He's a pod option. Tanner Boyd continues to go well, Cord. I think that you could, if you really want to, get like one good score this week and then you have a red dot in Sam Healy if you want. And the option or the question that I have for you, Cord, is I don't know if you've been realizing, but Aaron Clark's minutes have decreased a lot over the last, say, few weeks. His scores are still pretty solid. It is a very big luxury trade, but what do you reckon? Me personally, I think I'm going to hold on to Aaron. I know he's getting low or around 50 to 60 minutes.
Definitely a luxury trade, Dor. Terrell May also has another buy round coming up, so that mid-range sort of dual position there might be handy in case you don't have an extra mid to back up. But I think Aaron Clark, if he's still churning out those 50 points, you got to be holding him, right?
Yeah, and if you want a pod from the Warriors, I think you got to get on Lecker. Like a Halasima. He's entertaining to watch. Otherwise, on to the next one, brother.
Yeah, moving on to the Bronx and the Rabbitohs. Cobbo has been recalled since round 18, while Dean Mariner comes in on the other wing for Jesse Arthurs. Joash Karapani making way there. A bit of an interesting call considering I thought he'd been playing really well in the last couple of weeks. He has been dropped, so probably makes him a sell now. For the Rabbitohs, Jack Wyden has been named at 5'8", pending his appearance at the judiciary on Tuesday night. And other than that, I'm not seeing much fantasy news other than halfback Jamie Humphreys is back on deck if you still got him.
Yeah, I think fantasy-wise, Cord, it's a bit of a blow, especially for Karapani owners. They would have been hoping that he would have been playing this week in this lovely matchup against South Sydney on the weekend, but unfortunately, he is gone. And look, it is time to go. It is time to go, blood.
It's time to go.
Karapani has got to go. I think Tallis Duncan's still been going all right, Cord, so you can probably hold on to him even though he's out in the centres. Yes, you'd prefer him to be in the second row. Aiken's been really good for South. Ryan Gray had an absolutely unbelievable performance on the weekend. I think he made like 68 tackles, I believe. So he had like 50 odd or high 50s, low 60s fantasy points. So again, a bit of a cash out option. But really, I think great news is Haas. Haas is good to go. I think if you want a bit of a pod mid, Carrigan is a solid option. And then I think Reece Walsh could be a good wing fullback for the run home. Didn't have his greatest game on the weekend, had a fair few errors, but still managed 50 fantasy points. So he could be a real smoky for the run home, Cord.
Moving on to the next game, the Titans and the Panthers. And if Cleary and Yo and Edwards didn't go off this game, they're going to go off again against the Titans. Liam Martin has also been named to return after coming off the bench last week. And for the Titans, Sam Verrills returns from personal leave. Chris Landrell, he's off with concussion protocols. Tom Weaver comes onto the bench with Sean Mully suspended. Look, Isaiah Yo, and I'll give this very lightly to listeners, 720K. He's not going to be any cheaper this year. He's a must-get this week. Absolute must-have for me. And I've got AFB. He's still got another buy. I'm moving AFB just to Yo this week because he's been poor. He is a buy this week, Isaiah Yo.
Yeah, Fanua Blake's minutes haven't been the best, Cord. But yeah, Isaiah Yo's been great. If you don't have Cleary, well, Cleary's back. He's kicking goals. So that's absolutely huge for owners. Dylan Edwards. You haven't got Dylan Edwards. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Get him in. Titans-wise, Cord, look, Bo Firma continues to go really well. He's a really good, solid option there. He's got that duel in edge and center. But the big one, the big mover from last week was Jaden Campbell. I said in the call when I called the game with Sam that he didn't have as much strapping on as he usually does. And look, he absolutely looked electric. 82 fantasy points on the weekend. It's just that this matchup is
just a gamble, isn't it? It's a gamble on Campbell.
It is a gamble, but like I think he'll go well, but I don't think he's going to get 82 points against the Red Hot Panthers. So take that as you will, but I think Jaden Campbell definitely after this week will be a good option for the run home.
Moving on to the Dragons and the Raiders. Only the one change for the Raiders, Seb Chris coming back from suspension. And for the Dragons, Shane Flanagan with Michael Molo coming into the side in place for Jaden Suo, who unfortunately went out with a knee injury after we said pick him up with a pod option there. Hudson Young still got 54 points, a rather quiet evening last week. The Raiders still have another bye, which concerns me with Hudson Young and only getting him. They do have that bye in 2 weeks' time. So it does concern me if you want to pick up any Raiders players. So I think it's a risky one. If you just want to go for it, go for it. If you think you're confident elsewhere.
He's going to score really well, Hudson Young, but it's just like Cord said, he's got a bye coming up. And I don't know how everyone, like Cord and I's, or our personal comp this week is the final week. If you play up until the last round, because we don't play the last round because a lot of teams rest players, etc. So we like to have our grand final the week before the last round. But if you do play all the way up until the last round, your last regular season game will be next week. But just take that into play when the Raiders have their bye. I think all those guys like Tarpany, he's a bit like Fanua Blake, unfortunately. His minutes haven't been really good and his scores have been pretty mid, but I think you probably just hold on to him. Again, a bit of a luxury trade. Hudson Young's definitely killing it, so I I wouldn't say go and buy him just because I think they have the buy next week or the week after. So don't get in Huddy this week unless you really need a huge score and you need to try and make finals. Get in Hudson. Fogarty's been great, Cord. That's another one, and he should go well again this week. Dragons, look, there's not much there. I think we can just, with the utmost respect, Cord, just move on.
Move on.
There's nothing there for owners with the Dragons.
Lots of here for the Roosters. Billy Smith and Savala are back on deck for the Roosters. The big news for coaches here is that Fiketti has been named on the bench, and if I was a coach that owns him, which I am, I'd be selling him this week. He's probably peaked in price at 32 on the weekend. Fiketti been good, but it's time to go, blood. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's time to go. It is. He's been a great servant, but I think it's definitely a really good idea. Depending on how much money you have in the bank, Cord, it could be he's $524K. His break evens after that only 30 last week's increased to 37, I believe it is. Yeah, 37. So yeah, that's it's an interesting one. I think it's probably a sell. I don't think he's going to be back in the starting team. I know Egan Butcher's there at lock. He could still get all right minutes. I don't think it's like an urgent sell, but if you're trying to get into your finals or get as many points as possible,
sell.
I think, Fiketti is one to move on. Did you touch on Manly and all the other?
No, I haven't touched Manly yet. Olakwatu out injured, as we said. Jakey Simpkin returns from concussion. Tommy Trbojevic has been playing really well at centre. I probably wouldn't be going out and buying him, but he has been playing really well. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, Turbo's been great. Look, only 45 on the weekend, so not the best. But hey, look, if he's getting averaging 40s in your centers, I think you definitely hold him there. So yeah, I wouldn't be going and buying him like you said, Cord, but definitely a hold. Like we've got Turbo, we'll be holding him. A lot better matchup this week against the Roosters, who do concede a few more points. Like Dogs have the best defense in the comp, and Turbo was still able to get 40 odds. So that's pretty good. Now, fantasy wise with this game, Cord, wouldn't really say to buy anyone from Manly. Definitely not buy anyone from Manly. Now, the Roosters, we've got a bit to talk about here, Cord. Now, Tedesco, look, hasn't really been the greatest. I don't know if Sam Walker has killed the Roosters' attack, but there has been Teddy and Marky Mark's points have definitely dropped since he's come back. Teddy, I'm okay with. I think he'll be all right. But Marky Mark is the one that I am slightly concerned with. His scoring has been pretty average of late. Look, he had an all right game, 35 points. You'll take that. But he did get about 5 or 6 points right at the end there with that. He did lose 2 as well with that forward pass to Teddy, but he did break a few tackles right there at the 80th minute. It's a real luxury sell. If you've got a heap of trades, then he might be someone to move on just because he's barely getting the ball at all, Marky Mark. I'd probably say this and he'll go out and kill it. So, yeah, I think hold just because it's a good matchup against Manly. They can concede some points. I think if you're looking at players to get in, I think Connor Watson, Angus Crichton, they've been solid. They haven't been killing it, but they've been solid. Otherwise, like you said, Cord, I think Fiketti, with him being on the bench and now Wong coming back from injury, I think he's definitely one to go. Radley is also named in 22 as well, as I've just seen. So that could be something like he could come in and then Butcher goes to the bench. So, yeah, I think definitely Fiketti is a one to move on this week.
Moving on to the next game, the Tigers, not much fantasy relevance here with Buller returning after 5 games out. For the Dogs, though, Tracy is facing 3 to 4 weeks on the sideline with an abdominal injury. That means Jacob Carraz goes to fullback, and I see no issues with that at all. I think Carraz is going to go absolutely off on the weekend, to be honest. I'd even call him the captaincy option. I'd go that far.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really good, Cord. Yes, he won't be the one, receiving the ball out on the flanks to score those tries. But I think we're going to see an increase in run meters, tackle busts, and offloads as he's getting the ball more often. He also could get some more try assists as well. I don't think it's going to really decrease or hurt his fantasy value, but we will see on the weekend. I think I just want to make a special mention here, Cord. It was good to see Jacob Preston return to form, but This man played his best game, I think, if not for the season, in at least like a month or two. Matt Burton was exceptional on the weekend. 571K, really good matchup, and he just ran the ball. Like, I haven't seen Burton really take on the line and use his running game that well in a long time. 62 points, scored, break even of 42. I know you have him in Supercoach, so you were probably running around the room in a lot of excitement when he went 100 plus on Supercoach on the weekend.
Very lovely.
But I'm actually considering getting Burton in, Cord. I
Is that
really
right?
liked what I saw. But if you can't afford Burton, he is 571K. His halves partner against his old club, Lockie Galvin, 54 points, 488K, break even at 23 this week is not a bad option at all. We did say Galvin was a buy last week, so if you picked him up, you got a handy 54, and I think he's going to be really ripe for the picking this week, Cord, with a great matchup against his old club. If you don't have Preston, look, Preston's a solid option. So is Carraz. I think you want to have Carraz. Outside of that, Cord, I think Adam Dewey, if you still got Adam Dewey, he's still there at lock.
It's Adam Dewey.
Adam Dewey, yeah. He's still there at lock, so he's kicking along well. Taylor May, if you want a bit of a pot option, but he's probably not going to score very well. Back-to-back shocking fixtures for the Tigers. They got Penrith last week and then the Bulldogs this week, so maybe wait till next week. Latu Fainu, Cord, just the last thing on this game, I think he is a sell. I think he got like 20 odd, and then he also got hooked at the back end of the game there. They moved Dewey into the halves, and then I can't remember exactly. Someone went to lock, so yeah, I think that Latu Fainu, it's time to go.
It's time to go, blood.
Yep.
The last game of the round is the Cowboys and the Sharks. For the Sharks, a couple of big ends, Talakai and Britton Okora back on deck for them. For the Cows, Jakey Clifford is back in the 7 jersey. Fantasy relevance, mate. Drinky, they've got a pretty good run, the Cows. So Drinky, I would say, is a buy. If you haven't got him for the last couple of rounds, what else have you got here, mate? I'm not seeing much either.
No, there's really not much. Actually, I have thought of something, Cord. Drinkwater has been really good, but this is very potty. But
Body.
this man has been absolutely killing it this season. Tom Dearden. I think he could be a bit of a pot option.
That is very potty.
You want a half. I personally think Isaiah Katoa is the best half to get into your teams this week if you have Hughes to replace. I really do think that Katoa is the one you want to get. But in saying that, I think Dearden is a really, really good option. He got 93 last week. Yes, the Dragons' defense was feeble, asinine, whatever you want to call it. It was awful. Poor King Togia got taken to the cleaners. But 93 points from Dearden, break even of 13, Cord. Like you said, the Cows have a pretty solid run home, Cord. He got 93 last week. Week before against the Dolphins, he had 69. The week before that against Canterbury, he had 61. So he's absolutely killing an average of 74.3 over his last 3 matches. I think Dearden is a really good option. I guess the only downside is that the Cowboys don't play the very last round. So for like someone like you and I could, for our personal comps, that would be fine because we're not going to worry about our head-to-head. Our head-to-head's over. We're just playing overall for the last week. Otherwise, look, Talakai is back. He was laid out last week for Cronulla. I think Nico Hines was very disappointing. So was Fanua Blake. But I think those guys are just holds, Cord.
Yep.
They both got scores in the 40s. I think Nakora is not a bad option. Blake Brayley's a good option as well. But then again, like you said, like the Cowboys, the Sharks do have a bye as well coming up. So just take that into consideration. Otherwise, Cord, I don't really think there's anything else at all from this TLT. I think it was a pretty solid one. A few changes.
Not much there, but that's the end of the year, right?
We made it interesting.
We've made it interesting. I agree. We'll see you next week, listeners. Make sure to tune in to Buy Hold Sell with Boys, and if you're a part of the betting group, which is going very well,
yes,
make sure to get on that. And if you're not, you're wasting your time here.
Yeah. You're wasting some extra profit.
Yeah.
So but also gamble responsibly. Thank you so much, guys, for all the support. We'll see you next week for round 23's TLT. Catch up.
Bye.